All right, let's talk about a skill that is absolutely critical for acing those big English tests, but it's one that a lot of people miss. We're talking about academic thinking. And look, this isn't just about knowing more English words. It's about learning how to use the language in the exact way that the people scoring your test are looking for. So, does this sound familiar? You've studied, you know the topic, you've got these great ideas buzzing around in your head, but the score you get back just doesn't match up. It's super frustrating, right? Well, you're not alone. And the fix isn't about cramming more vocab. It's about changing how you think. Okay, so the very first roadblock for a lot of people is what I call the translation trap. You know, those mental habits you have in your own language, they work perfectly fine day to day. But in a high-pressure, timed test, well, they can actually start working against you. And this really breaks it down. Look at the left side, the translation trap. You get an idea, you mentally translate it, then you speak. It's a 3-step process, and honestly, it's slow. It often sounds a bit clunky or unnatural. Now, look at the right. This is where we want to be. Idea, structure, speak. It's a straight line. That's the secret to sounding clear and fluent when you're on the clock. So the big takeaway here, it's that we've got to shift our focus. This is not about just using English words. It's about fundamentally changing how you organize your ideas. Think of it like rewiring your brain a little bit so you can present your thoughts in the structured way that these academic tests are designed to reward. So how do we actually do that? How do we make that shift? Well, there's a simple but seriously powerful tool for this. It's called the CRE framework. And I'm telling you, this is like the secret recipe behind almost every strong argument you'll hear. Once you get it, you'll see it everywhere. And the best part is, it's so simple. First up is C for claim. You just state your main point clearly and right at the beginning. No beating around the bush. Next is R for reason. You explain why your claim is valid. And finally, E for evidence. This is where you bring in the proof, specific facts, examples, data, whatever supports your reason. Claim, reason, evidence. That's it. That's the whole formula. And this claim-first approach is a really big deal in academic English. It's all about clarity. In a lot of cultures, you might build up your argument and save the main point for the end, like a big reveal. But here, you do the opposite. You put your most important point, your claim, right up front. Why? Because it makes it 1,000 times easier for the person listening to follow your train of thought. Okay, so we've got our CRE framework. Think of it like a single, solid building block. But how do you take a few of those blocks and build them into a strong, complete argument? Well, that's where something called linear logic comes in. And linear logic is, well, it's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It's thinking in a straight line. You make point A, which leads logically to point B, which then leads to point C. Each idea builds directly on the one that came before it. There's no jumping around, no circling back. It's just a clean, clear path from beginning to end that your listener can easily follow. And this really shows the difference. On one side, you've got linear logic. It's a step-by-step progression. This gets rewarded because you're actually developing your argument. But on the other side, you've got circular logic. This is when you just kind of repeat the same idea over and over in slightly different ways without really going anywhere. And on these tests, that gets penalized because it doesn't show any forward movement in your thinking. Now, here's why this is so important on a timed test. When your reasoning is all over the place or just goes in circles, you're forcing the person grading you to work really hard just to figure out what you're trying to say. That's called cognitive load. And while they're busy trying to decode your argument, they aren't awarding you points. Plus, you're just burning through the clock. So, how do you make sure your linear path is super obvious? You use signposts. Think of these as little road signs for your listener. Words like firstly, or for example, or in contrast, or therefore. They tell your listener exactly what to expect next. Oh, okay, here comes a reason. Now we're getting a conclusion. They take all the guesswork out of it and make your structure impossible to miss. All right, so we've got the CRE framework and we've got linear logic. But, knowing the theory is one thing. The real test is actually doing it when you're under pressure and that clock is ticking down. So this last part is all about how to make these skills totally automatic. And this, right here, this is the end game. You have to practice these frameworks so much that they become second nature. Like muscle memory. You shouldn't even have to think about claim, reason, evidence anymore. Because when the structure is automatic, all of your brain power can go towards focusing on the important stuff, like getting your facts right and speaking fluently. And this is a huge point. especially if you're someone who thinks that just throwing in more and more details will get you a higher score. It won't. On a test like the TOEFL, a simple but perfectly structured argument is worth way more than a messy pile of impressive-sounding facts. It really is a case of quality over quantity. So, what's the big payoff here? It's simple, really. You're not just learning a few tricks to pass a test. You are fundamentally changing your communication style to match what's expected at a graduate level. You're aligning your thinking with the way these tests are scored, for sure, but you're also learning how to think and speak like an academic. So I'm gonna leave you with this one question to think about. The very next time you're practicing for a speaking or writing task, stop and ask yourself, am I just listing a bunch of details, or am I actually building an argument? Because honestly, the difference between those two things, that's the difference between a decent score and an amazing one.